Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Paige, here once again with another video on Arrow Season 6, and this is going to be my review for episode 17 of this season, otherwise entitled Brothers in Arms. But of course, before we get into the rest of the video, if you have not watched the episode, be sure to go watch it, because we're going to be talking about spoilers from this episode, so yeah, go do that. But if you are continuing on, which means you've watched the episode, be sure to let me know in the comments section down below what you thought of this episode, what did you like, what didn't you like, and just your various thoughts and opinions on certain moments of the episode. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and just enjoy the episode in general, or just want to leave a like, then leave a like on the video to show your support. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. So last episode was really the Goodbye Thea episode. You could argue it was filler, even though it did implement some things that we might see happen in the future. But for the most part, it really was just a farewell to Thea, Roy, and I guess you could say Nyssa as well. But it did push forward the whole thing about, like, you know, Oliver's connection to the Green Arrow mantle and how it does complete him as a person, which does, you know, obviously figure out and move over into this episode. Now, I do need to be honest. I like being honest in these reviews. I missed the first... Look, it's 20 minutes, but when you take out ads and stuff, it was about the first, 14 to 15 minutes of this episode. I missed it. My fault. Just my fault. I had some stuff to do and I was in a bit of a rush. So, I did miss the first, opening... I'd say 15 minutes, yeah, roughly. But I was told by people on my Discord, I wasn't going to review it straight away. I was like, okay, well, I'll wait a bit until I can actually watch the episode again fully. But people on my Discord were saying, yeah, basically nothing happened. Like, the main things was that Oliver fired the district attorney, and Captain Hill of the SCPD. Diggle was getting triggered by certain things. And then also Diaz killed a police officer in a very savage way. Those were the main points that I was told. If I did miss out on anything else major in the first 15 minutes, let me know in the comments, I guess. But essentially, I picked up on the episode when Oliver and Diggle return from essentially that outing where the cop was killed, and they have that first little verbal fight. Now, I did see some people making memes on Twitter and also in my Discord chat that this is a scene where, you know, an OTA scene, if you want to call it, between Oliver, Diggle, and Felicity, where Felicity was the least annoying person on screen. I thought that was funny. No offense to Felicity fans and stuff like that. Just that sort of thing just made me giggle a bit. But yeah, that was like the first little verbal argument that was building up to the peak of this episode, if you want to call it that. As we knew going into this episode, thanks to the synopsis for this episode, Curtis was getting a new boyfriend. Like, set that up last episode, I guess, but this episode it really pushed forward. And, well, his boyfriend doesn't like vigilantes. And he just doesn't say he doesn't like them. I think he actually uses the term that he hates vigilantes because in his eyes they're as bad as criminals. So that pushes on. Obviously, towards the end of the episode, that just sort of falls flat, and his boyfriend and along with Dinah get fired from the SCPD. It was the last thing that Captain Hill did was fire them all, I guess. So he's just well, vigilantes are okay because there's all these corrupt cops around, so they're basically criminals anyway, so vigilantes are really the only thing that are going to be helping the city from now on. So that arc was sort of weird. I think it was just sort of to add some drama in that relationship, which is sort of an unneeded relationship at this point on the show, but anyway, it was there, I guess. Now, I must say, this was forced, like a lot of the conflict in this episode, but you could argue it was building up throughout certain episodes, but just feel at this point in the season, just felt really forced to put it all in this episode. But anyway, we find out that Diggle isn't necessarily annoyed that he isn't the Green Arrow. He's more annoyed at the person who is the Green Arrow at the moment, which is, of course, Oliver. He blames Oliver for everything that's happening and, the way that the city is in at the moment, all the things that he's done, not only this season in the past, but also in the past seasons as well. He leaves, a trail of death and stuff behind him. Basically, Diggle was attempting to burn Oliver alive. But I must say, Oliver did come back with some good points. So the verbal fight was actually the most intriguing part of the episode, I guess, but it did feel like they were just yelling at each other and stuff for the most part, and just bringing up stuff that everyone knew and both of them knew as well. It was okay, I guess. As I just said, it just felt really forced, and then this obviously does lead into the fight, which I was like, okay, well, the fight might go for a couple of minutes. The whole fight was in the trailer. The trailer for this episode is the fight. There's a couple little things there, here and there, but for the most part, 3/4 of that trailer for this episode was the fight. And the fight lasted maybe a bit longer than the actual trailer. It was so short, the actual fight, I couldn't believe it. It was weird that they actually put that in the trailer. Like really, if I was making that trailer, you put maybe Oliver or Diggle punching one another, and that's for like 2 seconds of the trailer, and the rest is them having maybe a bit of a verbal argument or something like that, or something of them out in the field. Weird trailer for this episode. Everyone was thinking that this episode was going to be terrible, which it wasn't. I thought it was still decent. It just was put together pretty weirdly, and they could have done it a bit better. One thing in this episode which did make me go like, "Ooh, what the hell is that?" was when they went to like the Vertigo drug lab, if you want to call it, and Oliver fires that new arrow, and I don't know, I don't know what it looked like. It looked like almost like half a grenade or something. And then essentially just like rolls open and little other balls of explosives come out. I'm just going to call it like a shrapnel arrow, essentially, or like a mini grenade arrow. I don't know what you would call it. But it was pretty cool. I love when Arrow does that. When they do show like the slow motion of one of its new arrows and just slowly like unfolds and like everything falls out and stuff. I thought that was pretty damn cool. But basically this whole episode and all the conflict within it leads to Diggle leaving Team Arrow. So Oliver's by himself now. I guess you could argue this is the way that Oliver almost wants it to be from the beginning of last season. He just wants to be Green Arrow by himself. And now he's finally got it. And I think we're going to see in the episodes to come, Oliver struggle with that. Because really he was struggling when it was just him and Diggle for the most part. But now it's just him. It's going to be interesting to see where this all goes. I guess you could say we're going back to like season 1 before Diggle was even helping out Oliver. Which, you know, it's an awesome throwback. But Oliver is facing a much bigger task than what he was in those in season 1, might I say. So it's going to be interesting as hell to find out how it all goes down. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But one thing that I really wouldn't say I'm looking forward to, so I guess Oliver isn't looking forward to it either, because I think it's just repeating a storyline from last season. Anyway, and that is the fact that Oliver is now facing impeachment for firing the district attorney and the captain of the police because they were the ones sort of heading up the case against Oliver being the Green Arrow. So it's just sort of like a conflict of interest, if you want to call it that. So him, you know, firing them could be seen as him covering himself up as being the Green Arrow, if that makes sense. So the impeachment from last season was that Oliver was protecting the Green Arrow over the murder of Billy Malone. But so this is a bit different, but it's the same sort of thing. It's an impeachment. But we did find out that Laurel was the one that actually sort of orchestrated it, if you want to call it. So her reading all those law books and stuff that we saw her doing when Diaz came to talk to her before, I guess was actually worth it. But speaking of Diaz and Laurel, we do find out that there is one vial of Vertigo left, and we all know where it's heading. It's going to Oliver's bloodstream. So Oliver's going to be infected by Vertigo next week, you would have to think. Going to be very interesting to see what happens. I already know some stuff that's going to be happening. At least I'm 99% sure, and I'm sure some of you guys know in regards to guest stars next episode, which should be pretty fun. But yeah, another thing is that Diaz and Laurel are a thing. So we got a villainous couple going on there, which there was hints at it in previous things, especially this episode when Diaz went to her house. It just seemed a bit weird. But yeah, so they're a villainous couple, I guess. It's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. And they're still teasing us with the whole, is Black Siren actually evil, or is she good, or is she just like do what she wants? So if she wants to do something good, she'll do something good. If she wants to do something bad, she'll do something bad. They're sort of still teasing us with that all. So hopefully they clarify that in the episodes to come, because it's not frustrating to watch. I'll just like an answer. But overall, as I was saying, I did miss the opening 15 minutes of this episode. From what I heard, it was just bang average, the opening 15, apart from the Diaz scene where he killed the cop. That was about it. But yeah, for the rest of the episode, which I watched, it was slightly above average. I was not bored watching it. I was still intrigued by all the verbal conflicts mainly. The fight was a bit of a letdown, as I said, because it looked like it was going to be a big part of the episode. And it was 20 to 30 seconds, at least from what I remember at least. So it wasn't the most, captivating fight. But overall, I thought it was a decent episode. I'm very much looking forward to next episode, more than I was ever looking forward to this episode. Just because of the Vertigo situation and some of the stuff we're going to be seeing next episode, was much more looking forward to that episode. But yeah, this episode was okay. It just seemed like a lot of the stuff was forced, like Curtis and his boyfriend. The conflict that led up to Diggle and Oliver having that fight just felt a bit forced for the most part, but still watchable and enjoyable. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like in the video to show your support. Let me know in the comment section down below your general thoughts on the episode. What did you like? What did you hate? Just, general thoughts on certain parts of the episode. Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.